This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Andrew Risch, NBA Historian, where we take a break from the current season to have a conversation about assorted players and places and teams, and we do deep dives, mock drafts, rankings. We're just keeping his basketball brain active. Ha ha ha. So, enjoy the show, and thank you for listening.
Right, do you know this guy?
That is Rudy, no, Fran Vasquez.
You know his game?
No, I've never seen him play.
Your team, draft team.
You wait for him?
Yeah, we're still, hey, Fran, if you're out there watching, we've been waiting for 3 long years for you to come play with us. When are you gonna come? You don't have to worry about nothing. I'll make sure you get a nice house, nice car. You're gonna eat good every night because you're gonna eat with me.
Some open shots.
Some open shots, whatever you want. Just come on back. Come on back. We're waiting.
This is part 2 of your Andrew Risch Free Your Mind series.
Oh, okay.
Because this one, you had joked about the rights of Fran Vasquez finally being relinquished this past summer.
Yes, there's a few infamous players. In turn, what it is that the players never had the intention of ever playing for that team. It's just that they had draft rights, and the draft rights are salary markers. And because of the fact that they still existed, they were able to use it to make up salary to finish off a trade.
And that's how also, it started with the Fran Vasquez, but then Juan Pablo Valette was in the Mikal Bridges trade. Who?
Another one was, I believe, Yuri Welch. I remember Yuri Welch's deal contract got moved around a few times.
This is going to be a quick one. Will be the sequel to the old school trade.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to go anywhere, so this will be breezed through. It's not fun, I know. But I was going to ask you this question first. Is the draft and stash player dead now with the 2-way contracts?
The thing is with draft and stash, the reason why I think one of the reasons why draft and stash happened is because the buyouts for those Euro leagues was a little too much for those teams between 2005 and 2016 when the cap hadn't exploded. Now EuroLeague is kind of fixated in whatever buyout amount that they have, and the NBA's numbers have risen. So a buyout of, say, a Ricky Rubio right now would not be a problem. Is it dead? No, you can still do it if you don't really feel like, say, I'll give you an example. The Knicks drafted a guy named Paco D-Day. If you don't have room for him, you can stash him. So you don't have him on your books, and you don't have to pay luxury tax for a player who's not ready. So I could see stashing going on for luxury tax teams. But in terms
that's
of
what 2-way deals are for. So
but here's the thing. If you're a first rounder draft and stash, you're not going to be a 2-way guy.
Well, no, but those are extremely, extremely 1% rare. It used to be, in the 2000s, I'll say 15 of the 30 second-round picks were all foreigners.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is,
and if we don't have to talk about the 2025 draft, but it's a lot of foreigners again. Guys like Nolan Traore, Hugo Gonzalez, Dink Pate, like these are all Euro guys. I know Cooper Flagg's going high. I know Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper and VJ Edgecombe are going high. But there's going to be a lot. I would say half of the first rounders are going to be foreigners again.
But that's the first round. We're talking the second round, where these guys predominantly lived. The 50s were their home. You mentioned all the big ones in this past year, but I'm talking about Ariel Hakporti from Germany, who was the last pick. He's not coming over. And Melvin Ajinka, who was traded to Dallas, he's still out there. So it used to be all the time, let's just take these people, send them off to Europe, hopefully develop, we could get them back cheap. Because the problem is, like you said, they get good out there, they're going to sign big European contracts. Well, the NBA is not going to give them $10 million, but
and I
Europe
think these
will.
organizations have regrets because they're like the two classic examples that you just called rare, where they wait out 2 years to try to get the buyout done because they don't want to pay too much up front to get them to play early on in their careers, were Ricky Rubio, and the other one was Bogdanovich, where the Kings waited 2 years to bring him in. They don't want to do that anymore because they don't want to bring a player in at 23 years old. They want to bring a player in at 20 and 19 years old.
They also don't want to bring in like a Sasha Vezenkov who, well, we're going to give you $6 million. Well, what have you done? Well, I've done nothing in the NBA, but I have this big, European resume. Well, it didn't translate. Now he's back in Europe. I don't know. I think it might be the death because, well, we could develop you and you could play in our G League team for 2 years, as opposed to going to Europe where we don't see you. And if you get good, we can't afford you.
Yeah, the only situations where I could still see it happening, it's like, you remember that rare situation in Oklahoma City, maybe in 2016, where they did not have room because they had Westbrook and Durant. So they literally deferred their first round picks. Even though they selected somebody, they basically didn't give them a contract. Because they who was that player? He was actually an American player.
Mitch
but
McGarry?
They had it wasn't McGarry. It was a couple years after, but it was a guy they picked early in the first round, and they had no intention of ever playing him. And it was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. You're just putting this guy to the side because you never had an intention of actually using your first round pick, but nobody traded to take it. So if you're stuck with your first round pick, they'll do draft and stash if you're a tax-paying team. The thing is,
that's
it's double tax. Yeah.
But San Antonio is like the only team to do that, and it failed both times for them. And you just get known for, you're the guy who drafted somebody in the first round, and he played 0 minutes. Like, what kind of scouting department do you have?
Mm-hmm. But long story short, yes, it's going to be much more rare in the future. I'll say that. Not a lot less. It's going to happen a lot less.
Because you'll have a lot of NCAA guys now being there, and these names you probably will not know at all. If you do know any, just shout them out. This is the long road to nowhere. All these guys were traded at least 4 times and never played a minute in the NBA. Again, you had mentioned in the mid-2000s era. So starting off with Sergei Lishuk, who was a 2-time EuroLeague champ and a 3-time Ukrainian Cup winner.
Okay.
He was drafted 49th in the 2004 draft to Memphis.
Okay.
Flipped to Houston in part of a 3-team. He was, added. It was Memphis, Houston, and New Orleans.
Memphis. Was that the Stromhouse Swift deal?
No, but you were close. In another, that he was still playing in 2008. Memphis got the rights to Malik Badien and Marcus Vinciunas from New Orleans. The rights were from Houston. Houston got Adam Haluska, Bobby Jackson, and a 2008 second-round pick, and Sergei Lishuk, the rights to. New Orleans got Mike James and Bonzi Wells.
Man, I remember Bonzi actually played significant minutes on the playoff. That was the playoff year for New Orleans. Chris Paul was runner-up for MVP that year, and they actually went to the second round. They lost in 7 games to the Spurs. I remember that because Bonzi actually was a problem for Tim Duncan. He was for those who don't remember Bonzi Wells, a lot of people might remember that he played on the infamous quote-unquote Jailblazers team. But Bonzi Wells was a big body, and he could score. He was almost like Zach Randolph before Zach Randolph.
Are you sure about that?
I'm sure about that. I thought he was on the 2008 playoff team.
He was only 6'5".
Yeah, but man, he played.
Zach Randolph was 6'10".
Yeah, but Bonzi played like a big dude. He would bang inside. I mean, he just played bigger than he really was, is what I'm trying to say. But he was a physical player.
Pop quiz. Where did he go to college?
Ball State.
Ball State, yes.
I did remember that one.
Good.
He went to a very random college, yes. But he was a good player.
I
remember Mike James because Mike James everybody remembered because of the rap song. Who am I? Mike James.
That's Mike Jones.
Yeah, whatever. They don't know his name. Mike James was a good player. He was a good point guard. He played on the Pistons team that won a title.
He played on like a million teams, I believe. He is the crossover grid's dream player. No, he was not
on the Pistons team that won it all.
No.
Okay.
No, another pop quiz. Where did he go to school?
You got me on that one.
Atlantic 10.
Wow. Duquesne.
Very good.
Okay. You know who I mixed him up with? Mike Jones. Mike Jones played at Maryland, and he played in the NBA for a little while, and that was the guy with the same name as the rapper.
Yes, and there's also another Mike James who went to Texas, I believe, later on. Okay, we in December of 2010, he was part of the Terrence Williams trade we mentioned in part 1, where the Lakers got Joe Smith and a couple second-round picks, and Jersey got a Sasha Vujacic and 2 firsts. Mm-hmm. Where Houston, the Houston pick they flipped for Joe Johnson, and the LA pick they picked that they traded that as well. That wound up being Marshawn Brooks, and they traded to the Celtics for Juwan Johnson. So that was a wasted pick every which way you look at it. Juwan Johnson for Marshawn Brooks.
So wait, I'm just making this clear. So Joe Johnson wound up in Houston because of this?
No, as we mentioned the previous one, Jersey got 2 first-round picks for Terrence Williams. 1 pick from Houston, 1 pick from LA. The Houston pick they traded for Joe Johnson to get to Jersey. The Lakers pick they eventually flipped to the Celtics with their stuff, and that came out to be Marshawn Brooks.
Okay, that might have worked out a little bit for the Nets because ISO Joe was a good player still at the time.
In off-season, draft of 2014, he was traded back to his rights was traded back to Houston. He was in the Lakers. So Houston sent Jeremy Lin in a 2015 first and second for the rights of Sergei Lishuk.
Okay. And this is after Lin's sanity, though.
Yes. And with that pick, they drafted Larry Nance.
Okay. Yep. The Lakers did.
Who's now Pride of Wyoming? Can you name any other Wyoming basketball players? Oh, Theo Ratliff.
Yeah, I was about to say I can't think of too many players who played at Wyoming. You know, Larry Nance Sr. didn't even play at Wyoming.
Where else can you get a Theo Ratliff reference these days?
Right.
Okay, December that year, his rights were traded yet again to Philly in a 3-team trade. That was Houston getting Corey Brewer from Minnesota, Philly getting the rights of him and Ronnie Turiaf, and Minnesota getting Troy Daniels in a second-round pick. His rights were traded yet again in January 2015 for the rights to Sank Aikal and Jared Cunningham in a salary dump, obviously. And then finally...
fun fact, Jared Cunningham won an NBA championship with the Cavaliers.
And really didn't do anything?
Absolutely nothing, but he won a ring.
And finally, in January 2016, 12 years after he was drafted, his rights were traded to Houston again, where the Clippers got the rights to Marty Llewellyn, and Houston got Josh Smith and the rights to Sergei Lishuk. So he was traded back so many times to Houston.
I remember Marty Llewellyn, and I don't think he ever played a minute in the NBA.
Another one who just disappeared. Just a long road to nowhere. This one, he was only traded a couple times, but Albert Morales, he's a Spaniard.
Okay.
This was a big trade that you'll...
Doesn't that sound like a bad guy in Breaking Bad, Albert Morales?
He was drafted 39th to Miami in 2004. In
the Shaq deal?
Yep. Okay, so this is why I put him. In August of 2005, he was traded to Boston in a 5-team trade.
I remember who was involved in this. Can I say 2 of them?
Okay.
Antoine Walker and Jason Williams.
Yes, you are correct. Memphis got Eddie Jones and Raul Lopez. New Orleans got Rasul Butler and Kirk Snyder. Utah got Greg Ostertag from Memphis. Boston gets Albert Morales, Quintel Woods, 2 second-round picks, and Curtis Borchardt. And Miami got Roberto Duenas, Antoine Walker, Andre Emmett, James Posey, and Jason Williams.
Man, you know who was probably the best pick out? Well, Walker was, to be honest. He was a starter on that 06 title team, but James Posey actually played a lot for them too.
Yes, he did.
But that was a mega deal. I just remember that Miami wanted more scoring, so they swung that deal where they got Walker, who had been in Boston, I believe. I remember that because he wore number 8. And he got traded back to Boston. And he wore number 88. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then Jason Williams was in Memphis.
Just rounding.
And for those who don't know, that was White Chocolate Jason Williams we're talking about.
As opposed to the one who shot his limo driver.
Or the one who got into a motorcycle accident, Jay. Yeah.
Jay Williams was always Jay Williams. Yeah. December 2011, traded Milwaukee for Keon Dooling and a second-round pick that did not convey. Then, on close to draft night in 2016, he was Luke Ridnour before Luke Ridnour. He was traded from Milwaukee to Cleveland for Matthew Dellavedova. Cleveland gets a trade exemption. Cleveland then trades him to Chicago for Mike Dunleavy and the rights to Vladimir Vyramenko.
Wow. Yeah, I don't remember if Dunleavy Jr. played on the Cleveland team, did he? I don't know. I don't remember if he did. I know Corver did the next year, but I don't know about Dunleavy. I mean, Dunleavy Jr. is now the GM of the Warriors.
This was the end of his career. He played he played one season there.
I think he had signed a deal with a non-guaranteed option at the end of it with Indiana. I think that was probably
at the end he wound up with Atlanta, but he only played 16 minutes, played 23 games with Cleveland, so he was just a veteran rental at that point.
Right.
2 more names here.
Okay.
As we're just whizzing through this because we got a part 3, which will be much better. Trust me. All right. Georgios Printzelis, the Greek, drafted 58th in the 2000 draft to Toronto.
I want to say this was one of the players on the Greece team in 2006 that shocked the USA in the FIBA tournament.
Quite possibly. So he was drafted to Dallas in 2007. In 2011, he gets traded to Dallas for Alex Ajinka and a second-round pick in 2013.
Okay.
The 2011 season, he's traded to New York in a 3-team trade, where Dallas gets Andy Routens and a second-round pick that did not convey. Washington, who joined it, got Ronnie Turiaf and a second-round pick. And I think this is why I mentioned it. Do you recall who the Knicks got from Dallas in 2011?
Tyson Chandler.
It was a sign-in to Tyson Chandler. Mark Cuban decided to get cheap all of a sudden, broke up his team, and opted for Lamar Odom, Carter, and Delonte West over bringing his team back.
Yeah, I think they were bound to lose a lot of those guys, but it was a mistake. They should have tried to keep that team together, but that was right after the lockout, and there were a lot of deals done under the table during the lockout. One of them was Tyson Chandler is going to get paid by the Knicks.
Yep. And then July draft 2012, he gets flipped with Dan Gadzurich, Jared Jeffries, and the rights to Kostas Papalakou, and a second-round pick for Raymond Felton and Kurt Thomas.
Wow.
Kurt Thomas had to have been...
Raymond, wait a minute. Raymond Felton was a Maverick?
No, he's traded to Portland from the Knicks.
Okay. Yeah, man, I don't even remember that. Gosh.
Oh, Raymond Felton really didn't have a distinguished career outside of UNC.
Yeah.
To be fair, his rights then you could see what Oklahoma City was doing back in 2013. His rights were traded at the deadline to Oklahoma City for Eric Maynor, Oklahoma City gets a trade exemption.
Mm-hmm.
In July, the draft of 2014, his rights get traded with Thabo Cephalosha for the rights to Sophocles Short Santos, who Baby Shaq.
So what it is like this. I know exactly what happened here. They just lost Harden because they were capped and they wanted to pay max to Westbrook and Durant, but they didn't have any money unless they had to go over the tax. So Thabo Cephalosha, who started for them when they went to the finals, got lumped into a trade.
Yep, he just got salary dumped there, but Oklahoma City got a trade exemption out of it. And then finally, July 15, traded from Atlanta to the Spurs with a 2017 second-round pick that did not convey for Tiago Splitter.
Okay.
Who I believe is an assistant coach still. He was in Brooklyn, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure if he landed elsewhere, but he is an assistant coach.
He is the head coach of Paris basketball right now.
Oh, wow. So he took a bigger job elsewhere. So...
In the French league, so moving
Splitter was a good center. He started at center when they won when the Spurs won the championship in 2014.
He was a champion. I mean, I forgot he was a first round pick. I thought he was like the 30th pick.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was first or second. I do remember he got an absolute epic block on Dwayne Wade in the finals where Wade tried to dunk on him and he put it back in his face. I remember that.
So that's why I included him. He was traded. His rights were traded 6 times. And
that's a lot.
It's a long way to go. Like I said, to see your name still in the...
And you know, I don't know if I know. I'm not sure about this. You said one of the guys he was traded with was Thabo Cephalosha. I think Cephalosha was also Greek. He was either Greek or Swiss. I can't remember.
He was Swiss.
Okay. He wasn't Greek.
They're really not close.
Damn it.
All right. The last one is a Turkish player, Emir Prezdelic. He was drafted 57th to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2009. See, that's just harkening back. This is where they used to be, the 40s and the 50s, and now you're just getting those fringe NCAA guys.
So Turkey actually was solid at the time internationally because they had Hidu Turkoglu and Omer Asik.
They had Omer Asik, Sammy Erden was coming up soon. Turkey's always had it.
Nenad Kristic, or was Kristic Serbian?
He's Serbian.
Okay, yeah, but Turkey was solid. They actually played in the finals in the 2010 FIBA games against the U.S. and their best player at the time, I believe, was Turkoglu.
They've always had very solid. They put up very good not stretch fours, but they have shooting bigs.
So the Cavs just took this name and said, "Oh, he's Turkish. Let's give him a shot."
So he was drafted in 2009, trade deadline. He's flipped to Washington, a 3-way deal. The Cavaliers get Sebastian Telfair and Antoine Jameson.
That was a deadline deal in 2010 where the Cavs wanted to add some talent because they wanted to win a title because they were afraid LeBron James was going to leave in free agency. And spoiler alert, LeBron James did leave in free agency for the Heat.
Well, because they got rid of Zydrunas Ilgauskas, who he loved. He loved Big Z, and then they got rid of him.
That was the only reason he won yet. Or they
Clippers,
they also had Shaq on that. Shaq was on that team too.
The Clippers gave up Al Thornton to the Wizards, who never did disappointment from Florida State. And then the Clippers got Drew Gooden and his rat tail.
Yeah, really, Drew Gooden, man. Like that's a guy. I don't know how many teams he's played for, but he's played for quite a few.
In 2014, his rights is flipped to Dallas for DeJuan Blair and his reverse ACLs. Wasn't that his thing?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like DeJuan Blair, the thing everybody remembered about him is that he went to draft combine and they found out he had no ACLs.
Yeah.
Like John Elway did.
2016, his rights are flipped to Indiana with Jeremy Evans for the rights to Stanko Barac.
All right, Jeremy Evans won a slam dunk contest where he had a painting of himself posing. That was pretty cool.
Didn't he go to a weird school as well?
Western Kentucky.
Yes, Western Kentucky before.
Mm-hmm.
Before they decide to throw a ton of money at Rick Stansberry to illegally recruit everybody.
Yeah, and like Mitchell Robinson, yeah.
Okay, in draft of 2017, he was traded to Toronto for Corey Joseph.
Okay.
In 2019, the deadline, he was flipped with Malachi for a salary dump. Toronto sent Malachi Richardson and a second-round pick for him and money.
Man, what a disappointment Richardson was. He was a first-round pick to the Kings.
Well, he had that NCAA tournament where he blew up, and then that's all he did, and that he rose to the first round. And I believe
he was never heard from again, right?
Sacramento is like, we like him, we'll take him. Nothing. They flipped him to Toronto.
That was an all-time bad. Todd Weber, close your ears. That was an all-time bad draft class because not only did they pick Richardson, they also picked Georgios Papagiannis. Like all-time bad.
Was that the same draft?
I think it was 16 or 15 that they picked Papagiannis.
It was Papagiannis, and it was Scalabissier was the third one. I remember they had three, and everyone was like, "Well, if you flip Scal."
And the year before, they did one of the worst deals ever when Vlade Divac was the GM, where they gave up multiple picks so that they could sign Rajon Rondo and Corey Brewer. It was really bad. And
then finally, in 2021, his rights were flipped to New York, where New York got him, Terrence Ferguson, Vincent Poirier, and 3 second-round picks. Philly got Ignas Bridgelis and George Hill. Oklahoma City got Austin Rivers, Tony Bradley, and 2 second-round picks, a 2025 and a 2026 second-round pick.
Is Austin Rivers still playing?
No.
He retired. Okay.
Yes.
I know he has a podcast.
Well, he didn't retire. He was sort of forcibly retired.
Yeah. It's kind of like DeMarcus Cousins, where he goes on podcasts talking about how he can still play, but nobody calls him. And I'm not trying to besmirch DeMarcus Cousins or Austin Rivers. I'm sure they would absolutely kill anybody in a gym, but they're just the NBA is not asking for their services anymore.
So as you see, most rights, if you're don't come over within like 3-4 years, your name's just going to be on this list of being flipped for other things, it seems like.
Well, what's confusing about it is that how did these second round picks wind up getting long-term contracts? That's the part I don't understand. It has to do with the fact that they're stashed and they have the rights reserved.
The rights are just held.
But I have to imagine, though, that the CBA has caught on to this and they've tried to limit the number of years that you can hold on to the rights.
No, not if Fran Vasquez was finally, his rights were renounced this past year. Not a big cap hold, so they just probably keep him on there because it's an asset because you can't flip nothing for, nothing in a heavily protected.
I'll give you an example. So, Baron Davis, his last year in the NBA was with the Knicks. It's not like that cap hold stays there for like years and years and years and years and years. You can't just keep using it.
No, because his contract expired. The rights do not until the team renounces them.
Yeah. It was even more complicated when they had multiple rounds. Like, for those who don't know, there were up to like 6 or 7 rounds in the NBA draft. Larry Bird actually got drafted a year before he came out. Later in the later rounds. It was similar to baseball. So it used to be actually more complicated, but once they went to 2 rounds, you couldn't do that anymore.
Well, there'll be 3 soon, I imagine, with the 3rd round pick going straight to the G League.
Also, the fact that now that there's a night 2 from a broadcast standpoint, they're going to want 2 quick rounds in order to do that. But yeah, I can see a 3rd round in the NBA draft. They're already talking about expansion again, so it's possible.
Anything is possible. Well, I hope you enjoy. I know this was just a quick one. This one wasn't. We knew wasn't going to be special because the names didn't do anything. I mean, in maybe Serbia or Spain or wherever they played, yeah, they might mean something. But for us, they were just rights who were eventually renounced. 15 years later.
But they went to some memorable teams. I will say that, or involved in memorable trades.
Yep. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Free Your Mind with Andrew Reich. I am Adam Murray. Have a good one. No, see ya?
No.
Okay.
Not this time.
Bye.